Hello everyone, hopefully all of you are doing great. Today I will be talking about the contingent liabilities, one of the most important concepts of IAS-37 and accounting. So exactly what is contingent liability? Let's see. Remember, contingent liability definition has two parts. The very first part says a contingent liability is a possible obligation, not a present obligation. It's a possible obligation whose existence will be confirmed by some uncertain future events which are not in control of entity. Hard to understand the definition? Let's make it easy with an example. I have taken an example of a parent company and of subsidiary. The subsidiary required finances. Subsidiary went to a bank to have a loan from the bank. The bank required security, right? They need collateral in order to provide you the finances, the loan. However, subsidiary do not have its own collateral. So parent company come up with a help for the subsidiary. They provided what? They provided a guarantee for the subsidiary. The guarantee of what? If a subsidiary default on its loan obligations, I am here to pay the bank the defaulted loan. Right? So this is a past event, which is an event of giving guarantee for the subsidiary by the parent company. Remember, we are talking about the parent company right now. A parent company is providing a guarantee. So, do a parent company have a present obligation or a possible obligation? Remember, a present obligation is an obligation of yours right now. Does parent company take a loan? No. A subsidiary take a loan. So it is an obligation of subsidiary to pay the loan at first. However, I have a possible obligation. As a parent company, I have a possible obligation, which is if in case my subsidiary defaulted in future, they do not pay its loan on time, I will then be liable, I will then be obliged to pay off the loan which subsidiary defaulted. So presently I am not obliged. My subsidiary is obliged to pay its loan because subsidiary take the loan. I just provided a guarantee, and this guarantee make me liable in a future, right, to pay off the defaulted loan. So currently it is only a possible obligation whose existence confirmed by the occurrence or the non-occurrence. If a subsidiary defaulted, then I will have a liability. If not, then I will don't have any liability. So existence confirmed by some future uncertain events, not in control of entity. I am not in control. My subsidiary will default. It is its own function. I have no control. Right now, I'm not obliged. I'm only possibly obliged. This liability is confirmed by the future uncertain event. That uncertain event could be a default by the subsidiary or could not be a default by a subsidiary. So today, I am not obliged. It will only be a liability in future. Right? So this is a perfect example to define the definition of contingent liability. Another part of a liability is there is a present obligation. You are currently obliged. However, there is no reliable estimate available, or the outflow of economic resources is not probable. What I mean by probable, it means it's unlikely. You don't have a chance to pay off the obligation with your money with a 50% or more chances. So the outflow is not probable, and you do not even have a reliable estimate. Though you are presently obliged, you are legally bound, you have a constructive obligation, but you don't have the estimate available to recognize, or you don't expected outflow to result in future. So let's see how we can incorporate this definition into examples. So understand with the examples. The very first example is of environmental liability, right? You are running a factory, you are running your operations, right, in past. So obviously you have emitted a very harmful gases which polluted the environment. So this is a past event that resulted in a present obligation. Why present obligation? Because you are legally bound to pay for the damages created by you to the environment. Why? Because legally environment is protected. Under a country there were laws that protected the environment. So tomorrow maybe the government will send you a letter to pay for the damages. So presently you are obliged. Why? Because in past you have operated your factories and you have emitted the harmful gases which are not allowed, right? So presently you are obliged. Do you have an estimate? Do you expected future outflow of economic resources? Let's see. Yes, the outflow is probable. Why? Because tomorrow maybe the government make you liable to pay. So the outflow is probable. The past events has already occurred and you expect an outflow in case if the government throws a letter on you to pay for the damages. However, it's hard to estimate, right? Why? Because environmental liabilities are hard to gauge. You may require an expert. Maybe in vicinity of yours there were many industries. So what damage you have incurred is hard to find out. So it's not easy to estimate what is the environmental liability, what amount you will have to pay for the liability. So if you're not having a reliable estimate, then it is what? It is a contingency, not a provision. If you have a reliable estimate, if the probable outflow is there, you're also having a present obligation, then it's a provision. Right now it's a contingent liability. Another example is of faulty goods. You sold the faulty goods in past. You are liable to pay the customers. Why? Because customers were protected by the consumer courts. If customer think your product is faulty and he may throw you to the court, he can. However, in your country, the customers do not push you towards the court. They not usually, make a lawsuit. So outflow is not likely, because if they don't push you to the court, then you definitely don't have to pay for the penalties. So even though you are presently liable under the code, they are protected, and also you have an estimate maybe how much damages you will be paid to the customer, but the outflow is unlikely because usually the customers in your country may not push the suppliers to the court. So that's why it is a contingent liability, not a provision, because it's a present obligation. It has a reliable estimate, but it does not have a probable outflow. So it is a contingent liability, not a provision. Hopefully you understand the difference between the contingent liability and the provision. Also, what exactly is a contingent liability.